to Discovery and welcome to another episode, and we got an action-packed week for you guys today, so let's not muck around. We're going to the singles first, and the first single that I checked out was Alestorm Fanny Baws.
Fanny Baws, he's a fearsome pirate. Fanny Baws, he's the scourge of the seas.
This is such a fun song, it really is. I absolutely love his vocals throughout this song, and I just love the music video as well. It's so damn good. It reminds me of Tyrant Lannister, to be honest, especially the little dwarf. I love the music video. I love how catchy that chorus is. I love the tone of the guitars that sound vibrant. The chorus gets stuck in your head as well. I can't wait for the Curse of the Coconut to actually drop later this month. Rumahoy, Captain Yarface, released a song called Harambe, the Pirate Gorilla. A very fun song as well. I absolutely love that music video. Harambe playing the guitar. This is a really fun song. Again, affiliate with Alestorm. It's got such an upbeat vibe. It's like you want to have beer with your mates and listen to two songs that I've mentioned. I think they've just announced a new album called Time 2 or something. So I'll be definitely checking out that album. So what is very interesting, we're going to pop now, and it's Puscifer, Apocalyptical. A really cool song. I really love it. Maynard from Tool is actually a vocalist in this particular band. Must be his side band or something like that. I love the music video. I love the way he dances. I love the music video. It's really cool. I love how synthy and poppy this song is, and a really nice bass guitar and some guitar in the mix that is quite low. But you know what? Maynard's dancing is absolutely fantastic, and believe it or not, I tried it for myself. So believe it or not, Behemoth released a new song called A Forest featuring Nicholas Farforth. I was very hyped for this song, to be honest. I thought this was going to be an original song, but it turned out to be a cover, and this is The Cure's cover. I love the original A Forest by The Cure. This song is a very disappointing song in my opinion. Behemoth try and make it their own, but I think they fail, especially those vocals. Those vocals are fucking atrocious. It's a disappointing song because I just can't stand his vocals. Nicholas' vocals are good, his vocals are good, but Nicholas Carver's, nah man, I don't really enjoy his vocals. The instrumentals are very heavy throughout this song, and surely it does feel like a Behemoth song. So we move on to newly released albums. So the first album I'm going to talk to you about is Asking Alexandria and their album Like a House on Fire. Very surprised about this album. I'm a bit of a skeptic of Asking Alexandria because they really changed their sounds throughout the years, but Asking Alexandria Like a House on Fire is just a fine album. It's not a metal album in my opinion. It's maybe a hard rock or even a pop rock album because they incorporate elements of pop rock along with at times hard rock. Down to Hell is definitely one of the heaviest songs off the album with even harsh vocals as well. What really disappoints me about this album is there's no innovative verses. All the verses do sound the same. They lead on to a really hooky sort of chorus that gets stuck in your head. The choruses are really good on this album, but the verses are a huge letdown. Surely there are some guitar solos throughout this album. They're a lot heavier than other hard rock bands that I know. They also incorporate electronic elements as well, which I can't really get into, to be honest. What can I say? It's a good album. It's a good album for what it is, and there's nothing really negative I can say about this album. His vocals are pretty good. Incorporates a few harsh vocals now and again throughout this album. But if I'd had to be really critical, is that this album does drag, and having up to 15 songs on this album with a runtime about 50 minutes, it does drag a bit. And some of these songs sound the same, to be honest. Lara Zapame is a pretty good song in my opinion. It's got a catchy sort of verse, got a catchy sort of chorus as well. Asking Alexandria Like a House on Fire, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. Okay, so the next album I checked out is the band Forming the Void and their album Reverie.
Unspoken languages they know.
This is is a really good album. It's a good rock album. Wouldn't say it's metal. It's a lot heavier than Asking Alexandria, that's for sure. But the guitars, man, the guitars are so damn sludgy. Really awesome moments. Absolutely love Onward Through the Haze. That's an awesome song. Got Electric Hive as well. There are several songs off the album with an average around 45-minute runtime. Vocals are dynamic. There's no harsh vocals throughout this album, and those sludgy guitars really remind me of bands like Mastodon. This album's quite proggy. There are some really nice guitar solos throughout this album, and if you don't like harsh vocals and if you like cleaner vocals, you're gonna really love Forming the Void, in my opinion. It's a very enjoyable album, and I sit here listening to this over and over again throughout this week. So from Forming the Void Reverie, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. The next band that released a new album was Patrons of the Rotting Gate and the album Bathed in Ash. Just imagine you are just stuck in a cave and you're trying to get out, and this is what this album feels like. It is so damn hectic. Reminds me of bands such as Ulcerate. Technical death metal album, you could say, incorporating elements of black metal at times. The vocals are awesome throughout this album. Chaotic album overall. Light Absconding is just an absolute crazy progressive metal piece. So many different time signatures. The drumming is absolutely insane, incorporating blast beats. Definitely an acquired taste, this album. If you like bands like Ulcerate, you're going to really love Patrons of the Rotting Gate, because this is a very interesting album. So Patrons of the Rotting Gate, Bathed in Ash, I will give this a 7 out of 10. Okay, so a band that released a new album was AFSKY, and the album, I can't pronounce it, but it's Ofte Drømmer mit Dod. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, this is a black metal album, Polish black metal album, I believe. It's a fantastic album, it really is. It's very atmospheric, his vocals are really cool as well. Some of the songs are very intense, hard-hitting black metal album, incorporating elements of sort of folk as well. At times there are some really soft, slow moments. At times there's also some orchestral moments as well. But Angst is one of the best songs off the album. But for AFSKY, probably making my top 10 albums of the month, that's for sure. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. So the next band that released a new album was Tyrant and the album Hereafter. Hereafter, your soul is mine. This is a heavy metal album. If you like bands like Iron Maiden or even Judas Priest or Haunt, you're gonna fucking love this album. I believe this is sort of a concept album because it incorporates the same melodies over and over again throughout this album, and you really just can't help but really grasp the concept of the album. Got a satanic theme, this album, but it's definitely a hard-hitting album in my opinion. There are some really nice guitar solos. His vocals, you have to get used to his vocals. Once you get the use of the range of his vocals, you can understand why I'm highly recommending this album. The solos on this are really good, the drumming as well. It's a very tight and cohesive album in my opinion, running around 53 minutes. Tyrant Hereafter, I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. So the next band that released a new album was Noctu, and the album Gildae Mortis Imago. Alright, so this is the Italian doom metal band. They're a funeral doom metal band, but I'm not too sure whether I like this or not. Surely there are some repetitive melodies. Really synthy based funeral doom album, because they really drop down the guitars, they really drop down the vocals. The vocals are more like an instrument throughout this album. The vocals are really low in the mix. This is a love and hate relationship for this album. There are some certain cool moments, like the last song, which is a 32-minute song. Really cool melody throughout the song. It's definitely one of my favorite songs off the album. rest of the album really lacks in my opinion. It's like it doesn't pull its own weight. It's very over synth driven, heavily focused on piano. It's different. It sounds very gothic. What can I say? It's a give and take, this album, so I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Okay, so the next band that released an album was Enmesarra, self-titled album. This is a disappointing album in my opinion. It's those guitars, the tone of guitars, and the vocals. Like, they try to be progressive. Yeah, I'm not a really big fan of this rock album, to be honest. They incorporate elements of rock, they incorporate elements of metal, and it's a very progressive, proggy sort of album, but I don't really enjoy this album. It's definitely one of the worst albums I've heard of the year, in my opinion. It's not as bad as Yara, which I gave it a 1, but it's definitely down there. The vocals aren't very good. There are certain elements of surprise throughout this album, different time signatures, nice drum fills. The guitar tone is very disappointing in my opinion. I absolutely hate the guitar tones. For Enmesarra, a 1.5 out of 10. So finally, the last album that will be featured on the newly releases for this week is Iku-Turso and the album Pakana. This is a folky black metal album. This is a Finnish black metal band, and this is a very enjoyable album. This is like second wave black metal. They sound like a second wave black metal band. It's just really good. I love the guitar work. I love how black and roll it sounds at times. His vocals are very low in the mix. They just sound like an instrument, and they do it right, unlike Noctu, that funeral doom metal band. Really nice acoustic moments. Some really long songs as well. The single Totus is absolutely fantastic. It's overall just a really fun album to just bang your head to. So for Iku-Turso, Pakana, I will give this an 8.5 out of 10. Okay, so now we go to the albums I've explored for this week, and there is a shitload of albums I've explored this week. So first of all is W.A.S.P, Dying for the World. This is a heavy metal band, and Blackie Lawless vocals on this album are just fantastic. They really are. I really love songs like Howl for Eternity, and Hallowed Ground is one of the best W.A.S.P songs I've heard, especially that guitar solo throughout the conclusion of that song, and how melodic. To me, Hallowed Ground reminds me, it sounds like a dedication to 9/11, especially those lyrics. This album is definitely one of the best albums by W.A.S.P. I really enjoyed it. For W.A.S.P, Dying for the World, I will give this an 8.5 out of 10. Another fantastic album was Edge of Sanity and the album Purgatory, Afterglow. Fantastic album, it really is. I really enjoy his vocals. His vocals are so damn intense. I fucking well love his vocals. Awesome song structure throughout this album, and it just flows so well. There are some really long songs. Fantastic album. One of the best melodic death metal albums I've heard in my opinion. And 9.5 out of 10. So another album was W.A.S.P re-idolized, the Crimson Idol soundtrack. So W.A.S.P actually re-recorded the Crimson Idol album, that amazing concept album that I've been talking about throughout last week, and I actually did a review. So I checked out W.A.S.P re-idolized, and to be honest, I really enjoyed it. They added a few more songs as well, and they've added a few more interludes, and to be honest, it does flow very well. But what really bugs me is that they changed the lyrics throughout some of these songs. That's what I was really disappointed about. Blackie Lawless changed those lyrics to make it sort of PG friendly. They added a few more songs for W.A.S.P Idolized. I will give this probably a 7.5 out of 10 because they did really change up the sound as well throughout this album. So the next album is Bathory, The Return of the Darkness and Evil. This album is definitely, like, I have checked out a few Bathory albums, and this is definitely one of the weakest albums. It's just the overall production, how frail this album sounds like. It's probably a lot of people's favorite albums by Bathory, but I just feel the production really lacks. It's not as good as Under the Sign of the Black Mark. Not as good as Blood, Fire, Death. I mean, Born for Burning is definitely one of my favorite songs off the album, but the rest of the songs really lack. Surely it's a good album by Bathory. It's definitely one of the weakest albums in my opinion at the moment for me. The Return of the Darkness and Evil, I did enjoy it, so I will give this a 7.5 out of 10. Alright, so the next album is Dragon to Sunlight, Hatred for Humanity. This is a good album, it's very chaotic, at times sounds similar to Anal Nathrak. There are some awesome chaotic moments as well, incorporate elements of doom metal, incorporate elements of extreme metal as well. It's a good album, its vocals are intense, really love how proggy this album is. But on the other hand, there are some really strange moments as well, and not too sure whether I enjoy those moments or not. Dragon to Sunlight, Hatred for Humanity. I surely do have a love and hate relationship for this album. A 6.5 out of 10. Next album is Dark Funeral, Aterra, Totus, Sanctus. This is a fantastic black metal album. I love this album. I really adore this album. I love his vocals, intense drumming. Atrum Regina. Atrum Regina is one of my favorite songs off the album. Absolutely love the Final Ritual. Awesome black metal album. I had so much fun listening to this album. So for Dark Funeral, Aterra, Totus, Sanctus, I will give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. So I listened to my first album from Draconian, and it is Turning Season Within. My feet in Draconian and I was impressed. I really was. Love Doom and I fucking love this. Her vocals are so damn good and his vocals are so damn demonic, and I love his growls throughout this album. Masterpiece. Absolutely love it. I really love Season Apart. That riff is amazing. Earthbound is an incredible song as well. To end off the album, you got September Ashes, Draconian, Turning Season Within. I will give this a 9.5 out of 10. And now we move on to another Draconian album, Arcane Rain Fell. This album is again another fantastic album. I love her vocals. Her vocals so damn good. The guitar riffs throughout this album, the drumming, so good. Oh, so good. Like, this band is going to rise up to be one of my favorite bands of all time because I absolutely adore this band. Like, all the albums I've heard so far have just been like amazing. Surely they sound at times like Sword of the Sun, especially throughout this album. It's really nice acoustic moments, really nice guitar moments as well. Her vocals are so damn good. They harmonize with his harsh vocals. Give me some more Draconian, baby. Arcane Rain for a 9 out of 10. Finally, the next album was Daylight Dies and the album Dismantling Devotion. We certainly have explored Daylight Dies, and I think they are such a fantastic band. His vocals are really good. At times his vocals sound like Jonas from Catatonia. He's got such a dynamic range. His growls, his cleans are so damn good. They really are. Love the guitar work throughout this album. Again, some of these songs are Solitude. Refinement sounds exactly something out of Swallow the Sun. This album's so damn good. It really is. I absolutely love this album. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. Alright guys, so that's it for Discovery. I hope you did enjoy this episode. Join me next week for another episode of Discovery. Comment below what albums you'll check out, and comment below if you enjoyed this Discovery. So make sure you like the video as well if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one.